everybody. Jigs and friggin' Bigs. We are back here. We got one hell of a show for you guys. Bobby Roast Beef here for you. It's another Monday evening. We're recording the show. We've kind of liked this time slot. It's kind of a nice spot to do it. And with, the advent of editing technology, I'm able to get this thing together quickly and be ready to go. Guys, we have an amazing show. Who the fuck is Joe Brown is back in the Bay State, and he's got tales, fishy tales actually, from his last week where he was in Key West. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about, a little failed outing that never actually went down. We'll explain what's going on. We're getting the boat ready. Gonna send it very, very, very soon. Very excited. And I gotta run something by you guys that I've had kind of going on through my head a little bit, and I want to see what you think about a little series coming up. Plus, we've got Bait of the Week to talk about. We've got all kinds of stuff, just the tip. And we've got not one, but we've got two very, very fishy headlines. Folks, we'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this. Here we are. It's another freaking beautiful episode of Jigs and Bigs goodness. We got a handful of jig heads in the house. We got Jay Manning with us. We got John Hagens. We also have Vidal joining us. John Hagen says, "Gentlemen, how's it going?" And then Vidal asks, everyone been behaving? Yeah, actually, surprisingly. Most of us have been behaving.
Yeah, I was just in Key West for a week. Zero behaving going on.
Yeah, that's fair, and that's a good excuse. You got a new tattoo while you were down there too, huh?
Oh yeah,
yeah, you did. You did. One of those good, nice, classy ones too.
So funny story. So, did you see the bunny one?
Oh yeah, the Playboy bunny one. Yeah.
Okay, so that one's fake. That one's fake.
Oh, that's fake. Oh,
that one is fake, but I did get a real one.
Okay.
So, they got we're absolutely twisted on Duval Street in Key West. And I'm the ranking guy there. I'm the older guy. And I actually just put up a TikTok about it. But it was like, the younger guy's like, "Oh, come on, Sarge, bet you won't get a real tattoo." And I was like, literally, as we were walking by, I walked right in, knew what I wanted, small little one. I go, "I want this. In this size, draw it up." And they're like, "No way." Got right in the seat and they're like, "Oh shit, he's doing it." And I did it.
How are they surprised? You have tattoos, visible tattoos.
Right, exactly. So I don't like, but you know what, dude? But one of my younger NCOs, he ended up getting one too. He's like, "I ain't letting you do this alone." So he ended up doing one too. And
nice.
So it turns into a good story. It's just like, it's just Roman numerals right above my kneecap, which if it's ever got a tattoo right above your kneecap, it's actually one of those spots that kind of sucks.
It's the worst, yeah.
And I didn't realize that going into it, but luckily, dude, it's wild down there because you get tattoos up here. It's much different from like scheduling a tattoo session to just walking in. Because I'm literally walking in, telling them what I want, double fisting fucking beers. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Whatever you want to do.
We're all just obviously fucking inebriated.
It is Florida.
It is Florida. It is Florida. The Keys.
Yep.
Very little rules there. But I sat in the chair, took like 20 minutes. Fucking, that was that.
That's freaking badass, dude. That's awesome. I have my wife has many tattoos, and I forget sometimes like where they're placed. And then every once in a while, she'll wear like a strappy shoe, and she has the weirdest tattoo. It's like cranberries and lemons on the top of her foot. And
the
she's
worst
like
spot on the planet.
And she's had like laser tattoo removal. Have you ever seen anybody get laser removal?
So
before?
Meg has had one. So funny. The one she has on her neck?
Yep.
Her original one was lasered off, and then she redid another one. Yeah,
Holly's done that too. Like she had one on her chest over here redone, and her thing was like, I want to get all these covered up, and I'm like, you probably don't have to waste your money because they were shitty tattoos. They were all blown out. You know what I mean?
Sure,
and they were like light, and they weren't. It's not like they were super dark or anything. I was like, talk to an artist first before you go and spend all this money, dude. Not only the money. the goddamn fucking blisters, like no bullshit. And I know you're a motorcycle guy, but it looks like fucking road rash.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
It looks like, and I'm like,
it's wild,
and it's fast. Like it just happens, and it's like you got hit with a real life taser from fucking Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you got hit with I'm like, this is unbelievable. So like, yeah, I was man, it's crazy. And I have a surprising amount of tattoos. Like some are very small, but they're all in spots that you really don't see them, except for that stupid mud flap trucker guy I've got on my calf. I don't know. There's part of me that's like, I should fix that. And there's other parts of me that are like, no, leave it. Let it be the fucking disaster that it is.
So we do those fake ones. And again,
I totally thought they were real, man.
Oh yeah, so everyone did. So I guess it was like that henna shit or whatever. Like it was just a smoke show of a chick in this little booth.
Sure.
So the young guys are like, "Oh, let's go in there." I was like, "All right." I was like, "Whatever." I was like, so it's funny. They're like, "Well, I'll get one." I go, "That's fine." I was like, "But I'm fucking picking it."
Oh, there you go.
So I do this, right? And I'm thinking like she puts it on, you wipe it off, like you're good to go. Oh no, dude. We had to fucking paper clip our shorts up for an hour.
Yeah. Walk around
Instant
like
anxiety.
a couple of fucking...
Like we look, I was like, we might as well go to the north part of fucking Duval.
Yep.
That's where we
belong
fit in with
at this
right
point.
now. Yeah. Dude. So finally, I keep drinking, and I'm just like, this thing's fucking stupid. I'm in this bar with napkins, just wiping it off, and I'm like, all right, I got it off. I wake up the next morning,
and it's back,
and it is back, dude.
What?
It is dark as ever, dude. It is the bunny is, and not only is the bunny, but where I spread it like trying to wipe it off.
Oh, man.
So, dude, I got a spot on my leg right now, like this fucking big of. It's like, it looks, dude, it legit looks real now because it looks like the bunny head, and then it looks like they like did some fading around it. I'm like, oh my God. Like, Meg's like, you're such an idiot.
That's such a nice piece of work.
Oh my God. So now we all have that. And like I was actually just talking to one of my buddies who I did that with. He was texting me. So most of my team's still down there. I only did a week.
Oh wow!
I came back,
wow.
But
that's a long time.
The rest of my team's still down there. And he's like now he's talking about how he's like taking a stripper out to dinner. And I'm like, dude, stop. I was like, stop it. Stop it right now.
Sound financial advice right there.
Oh God. So all right, everyone. So this is the last text my buddy just sent me. I go, she's from Hungary, all right? I go, do you even know her real name? He goes, yes. Don't know how to say it or spell it. And I said, oh my God. He goes, haha, yeah. I want her to ruin my life. And that's it.
Dude,
I was like,
I'll tell you, if that's truly his goal, he's like at the VIP entrance for that goal.
Yeah,
right
dude.
there.
He's 100%. He's about to, it's about to go down.
Fuck.
So. Whatever, man. Like, love the kid to death. He's about to get learnt.
Yeah, he is. Wow, that's brutal, dude. That is fucking brutal. Yeah, I had this week has been kind of nuts. I was very, very excited about the warm weather that we got up here. But it did not pan out the way I was hoping. I was dead set on getting out to fish.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, so I had a conversation earlier in the week. I sent out, text to like a few of the people, and being the first trip out and like taking the boat out, I always rather go, if I'm taking the boat, I'd rather bring someone along and fish along with somebody,
Sure.
So I'm like, I go out and I make a text to my buddy Paul. My dad he's actually in Key Largo last weekend. And so I'm like, all right, so, and I get the typical answer from Paul where he's like, let me see if I'm available. And I know I'm not going to hear until Thursday. So I start dropping some messages out to a couple of people. I hit up Becca, and Becca has some news that she informed me about that is fucking awesome. I'm so happy for her.
Okay.
Like, it's just, I don't want to spill the beans. I want her to go ahead and do it. But I'm not going to, I actually had spoken to her about co-hosting, because I was kind of like, I kind of want to be the first spot where she spills this kind of information, because it's cool. I'll tell you otherwise. And the Jig Heads, this is something I got to keep interpersonal with the Jigs and Bigs crew, specifically. I'll let her spill the beans though, but it is fucking dope. That's all I gotta say. It's awesome. So, she wasn't available. Her and Lila were doing like this. So Becca has started playing hockey again, and she's her team. They organized a game where it was all like a bunch of couples, and some of these people, like, I guess, had never skated and shit. So it's like, this is gonna be hilarious. They fucking won. Her team won. So then, I was talking with Matt Thayer and a couple other people about some other plans, and I was looking at the forecast, and I was just like, I'm gonna go for it. I took the cover off the boat, and my idea was, I just want to see what I'm dealing with and get a few things together and start going through, charge batteries, like all that shit. You know what I mean? Get everything ready, dude. I don't know if my cover is on strike, but there was so much water under the cover. Under the cover, like on the, so like the entire front casting deck was glazed with like a half inch of ice going over everything. But it was so warm, like that stuff broke up super easy. I was able to get in the doors and everything. It was fine. The stuff that's on the floor is a little bit thicker, and like that's like my net was laying on the floor. That is encapsulated in this ice. My windshield was up against the console, just a mess. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So I freed everything up the best that I could, and I decided I was going to take it out to an area with wide open sunshine, wide open, nothing blocking the sun at all, and an area on pavement. So I went to the mall. Parking lot, right? Big old blacktop paved area, and I actually was able to park a little bit on a hill, so that the drain was facing behind me and was downhill, and it was just spewing water out the side, like as it was melting, just trickling here and there. I was like, okay, this is good. We're getting somewhere. I pulled out all that other stuff. I drove it around and ran my errands and stuff with the boat. I'm like, I just want to try to get it out in the sun as much as I can. And where I parked it a little bit further down in my driveway, where it's got a really good spot next to the sun. Now, what's nice, my driveway is right in between two houses. It doesn't get as cold in between that spot. So it's a good thing. Now, granted, like right now, it got down to like 11 degrees last night. It was ridiculous, but we had a nice stretch of some some warm weather without much for rain. So we're in business. This week I'm going to do a little bit more work on it and see what I can get together, but I'm planning on sending it Saturday. And I went out last Saturday night with Paul. He actually wasn't able to fish either way. His girls have their last basketball game last Saturday night. So he's like, I got to run around and do that. So I told him, I was like, well, there's a comedy show I'm thinking about going to. If you're into it, we should go.
Okay.
And he's like, all right, man, that sounds good. Yeah, why don't we go do that? And so we went. We had a great time, had a couple of beers, had a really good dinner beforehand, laughed our asses off. This was a comedy show in Northampton. We did not fit in at all, and some of the comics were like, who the fuck are these guys? One of the comics referred to me as said that I looked like a trucker that her father owed money to. And I mean, that's just kind of the vibe that I'm trying to shoot for. You know what I mean? Mission accomplished. So I had a nice laugh about that, but other than that, did not really do anything super fishy whatsoever. I have got like a bunch of work stuff going on, and podcast has been doing great. Like the listens, you guys have been on it. I know I said this year awesome. I was not going to be looking at the analytics nearly as much, but I decided to take a peek this week because it was a little slow, and you guys have been into this, so this is great. We're on a nice little upswing right now. And I came up with an idea this week that, and I mentioned to you before we started the show, but I'm not going to say that I am committing to this idea 100%, but I have an idea for a series for the Jigs and Bigs YouTube channel that involves state records, and just to kind of like put a little something else in there that give a little bit more drama, I suppose. So I recorded like the intro, like where the idea first came from. I was running errands. I'm like, I'm going to go and I'm going to just record myself talking about this so I can capture it. And then I'll go back and do the research. And man, some of these state records are insane. Like not insane as far as beating them, but they're insane in the terms of like, you have people arguing all over the place about like all the details and like some of it is crazy. So that'll be interesting. I got to figure out the right way to go ahead and attack it. But I'm like, yeah, and it involves state records. We'll see what happens, you know? And the goal isn't to achieve it. Like, it would be great. Hey, if that happens, that would be wonderful. The goal is to just have the experience of chasing it.
Of course.
You know, and I think that's what's going to make me happiest. So it should be pretty interesting. And we've already got our first entry for the scavenger hunt in April. Not first entry, our first registered angler has joined us. And it is it Biohazard Bassin? It's Kevin. And we're going to have some more jumping in here. I have had a bunch of people asking questions. Today, I got a question from a listener about the number of species. And he was like, so it's basically everything but stripers and drum. And I was like, no. I go, it is the 22 species that are listed. And he's like, oh, I mean, like, I get it, but, you know, does it make sense? So I went through and I basically screenshotted the list, but just in case anybody is curious, what fish are eligible for the multi-species scavenger hunt series, and this goes for both the monthly, it goes for the open, and even the championship. These are the fish that are on there: blue catfish, bowfin, brook trout, brown trout, bullhead, carp, channel cats, crappie, black and white crappie, flathead catfish, lake trout, largemouth / spotted bass, northern pike and muskie, pickerel, rainbow trout, rock bass, smallmouth bass, snakehead, sunfish, that's a huge group, all grouped together, sunfish, tiger trout, walleye / sauger, white perch, and yellow perch. Those are the ones, and they make up essentially like the top 20-ish most popular sport fish and game fish that are out there. And, you know, we'll probably add some more in there at one point or another if we really have to. And there, I've talked before about adding like a wild card where you could enter one of anything and add those inches. Yeah, that might happen too. But right now we've got something really good set up. And for the most part, you know, people have within a couple of hours, you can catch a variety of these.
Oh, of course.
Nobody's ever caught remotely close to all of them.
Yeah.
You know, not even like, I don't think anybody's ever broken 15.
Okay.
Maybe that might be the record is 15, but there's still a handful more. And, you know, so that's what it is, just so everybody's aware. That's the list of species. What was the rest of your week like, Joe? It wasn't just drinking and tattoos. You did some fishy shit too.
I did some fishy shit. So for those of you who don't know, one of my bucket list fish is a tarpon. I've never caught a tarpon. Always want to catch a tarpon.
Yep.
My second was Barracuda. So I find a guide, and I didn't want to go on I didn't want to go offshore. I didn't want to go on some big boat. I wanted to go on the flats, in the shallows with a very small boat, a single guide. I was able to bring two people. It was two people. It was myself and one others. I chose to bring my buddy who, you know, grew up in like the projects of the Bronx. Yep. You know what I mean? Like city boy, he has never fished before in his life. Never casted a rod. Only the second time he's ever been on the boat, and the first time he was on a boat was with me when I had my tracker, my Deep V.
Oh, really? Okay.
Just as like we were out partying. And so he goes out, and we took, the captain was awesome, Tony down there, phenomenal guy, small little, you know, it's like a 20-foot Pathfinder.
Sweet.
And so we head out, and I'm like, yeah, man. So I fish competitively for bass. So I kind of got the whatever. And he's like, cool. He's like, we get out and say my buddy, he's like, yeah, I've never fished before. He's like, that's fine. He's like, I will get you fishing. So we get out to the first spot, and he's literally just teaching him how to cast. He never even casted before, and he got it pretty quick.
That's awesome.
And the conditions that we had weren't quite ready for the tarpon. Like, you see the tarpon, so you have the migrating tarpon, and then you have the ones that kind of the hang-arounds that kind of stick around for the whole season, but they're hanging around like the fucking marinas and stuff. They can't even really fish. I mean, I'm sure I think I sent you a video of like the 6-7 foot tarpon that are just hanging out. And so, and the other thing is, it was kind of like cloud covered, like it was mostly cloudy, and it was a little choppy. So in order to fish for tarpon in those in that time of year, you have to really sight fish them. Like, tarpon is like all sight fishing.
Yep.
And he just couldn't, the way the water was, he just could not see. He's like, okay. He's like, you said Barracuda is your second? I go, yeah. He's like, we're going to smash the Barracuda. I go, perfect. I was like, I'm cool with that. So he gives me the look. He's like, all right, dude. He's like, to my buddy, he's like, you're fine. He's like, cast out there, keep your rod tip down, and reel in this lure as fast as you can. Like, that's what the Barracuda, they want something going fast or whatever. He goes, you're going to have a tough time. I go, what do you mean? He goes, because once they hit it, they're going to hit it and they're going to miss. They're going to miss the first. They like 90% chance they're going to miss it the first time. Oh, wow,
really?
And when they do hit it, when we get a bite, what's our instinct, Bobby?
Jack that jaw.
Can't do it.
You just can't do it with reeling, the Barracuda.
Right? You just keep reeling, dude. So
I've heard about a lot of different saltwater fish where you're like, you're not setting the hook. It's just keep it moving.
Yep. So I throw in, and we started, like, they started boiling up pretty quick, and that I'm real, like, literally, like, as fast as I can, and we're using like comparable tackle to what we use bass fishing. It was probably like a 3,500 reel with like a dude. I was using a 7.2 medium spinning rod, and with like a 3,000 series reel.
Yep.
And I go, and I'm spitting, and I get one. It comes up, it boils. He hits it. What do you think I do?
You fucking jacked it, didn't you?
I tried to set the fucking hook. So he's laughing. He's like, because I told him, I was like, no, I'll remember. He's like, the guide's laughing.
But
he's
the
like,
instinct is just
he's like, I fucking told you. I told you. And so I'm like, fuck. So that spot was we had like one boiled, and after that, we took a run to another spot in the flats, and we continue doing that, and I'm rolling it, and then I have one hit it, and it misses, and I kept it going. I'm still reeling.
Oh yeah.
And then he fucking smacks it, dude, and he's on. And Bobby, when I tell you, when you hook into one of these things, the only thing I can really compare it to is if you're like fishing next to the Mass Pike, and you throw your rod out and you hook the back of a car that's going like 60 miles an hour.
Really?
And that's what, dude, as soon as he hooked in, it was just immediately like, zzz, he's just gone, dude. And I'm just holding on for dear life. And so I hook into this first one, right? And he's jumping like crazy, and the guide's going, holy shit, Joe. He's like, that's the biggest Barracuda I've seen in a few years. Like, that thing is fucking huge. He's like, hold on. And I'm fighting this thing for like 15 minutes, Bobby. And I am like hurting, dude. Like, I'm like, my arms are on fire. My shoulders are on, dude. And I'm just so tired. And this is the first fish. And I look out, and he jumps like 10 feet out of the water, like 150 yards out. And in my mind, I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah,
like, I am so gassed right now.
That's
like,
such a long way.
Part of me was like, I wasn't ready for this. Like, if he breaks off, I won't be mad, because I don't know if I can get this thing back.
Like, you're gonna have to play it off like, damn it.
Yeah. So I man the fuck up, and I get this thing, and we're right next, and I finally get it right next to the boat, and he's like, holy shit, dude. He's like, I can't believe this. He's like, all right, get next to the boat. Like, I have to really like be careful with this thing because he could fuck us both up. Like, this thing is huge. And he starts, so I have it in the video is actually on TikTok. Yes, I put the video on TikTok and Instagram, I think. I'm like, so I'm kind of moving. He's tired as fuck. He comes up next to the boat, dude. Yeah. I'm keeping that tension. All of a sudden, the lure just out of nowhere just pops out, goes right up in the air, and he fucking goes away. I was
no
like,
fucking shit.
After 15, 20 minutes of fighting this thing, dude.
How long do you think this fish was?
Oh, God. He was well over 50 inches.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah. Well over 50 inches.
That's
probably in the
wild.
mid-50s. Yeah. And, and I was like, oh, my God. So then I'm like, I am so gassed, dude. I'm like, I put my buddy up on the front of the boat. I was like, dude, I was like, you take the front, I'll fuck around in the back. Yeah. His first fish ever. Let me see. I think I sent you the photo.
I do have the pictures.
So for you jig heads, I'll bring this up real quick. So he's fighting this thing, dude. He's never caught a fish in his life. Right? This dude grew up in the projects of fucking the Bronx. This is the first fish he ever it's kind of bright, but
I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna see if I can't share it.
Yeah. So he catches, I mean, it's probably, a 30-inch, 4-inch, maybe a little bit more, tarpon. I'm sorry, Barracuda. And and he's like, dude, he's like, that's such a fucking workout. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like I am still fucking gas. But yeah, so he hooks in. He needs to take a breather, so he gets to the back, and at this point he put us onto a spot, dude. They were just all. It's kind of weird. It was kind of like it was the same like thing as like when you fish the St. Lawrence River, like during like spawn and stuff, where like you're looking for like the white sandy shelly areas. That's the same thing with the Barracuda.
Yep.
You put that lure up over those areas, and they're always there. So. I hook into one. I hook into a decent sized one. That was the first one I got in the boat, gassed, and we ended up getting 6 on the boat, 3 each. Lost probably another 6 a piece just from, because dude, they just turn into piss missiles when they get hooked, dude, just jumping like crazy. And so funny stories. This is what I was telling my buddy who's never fished before. I go, dude, I was like, you know what my fondest memory of Barracuda is? He's like, no. I was like, dude, remember that show Rescue 911 when we were kids? Do you remember that show, Bobby? Rescue 911?
Yeah, with the shat. Yeah.
So, dude, there was one episode in Rescue 911 I remember where this girl was on a boat and some dude caught a barracuda and it jumped out and hit her in the arm and like severed an artery.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yes. like that's the thing. Like that's why I asked you like about the size of the one that came off at the boat.
Yeah.
Because that's like a muskie, right? In my mind, that's like a bucket list muskie, a 50-incher, you know?
Yeah, yep. He said he was like that was a state trophy, like for sure. Like I guess that's like maybe it's like their version of a pin or whatever, like the one I lost. But so when I was telling my buddy that, he's like, dude, he's like, are you serious? I was like, wait till you see the fucking teeth on these things. But yeah, dude, it was
the teeth are much more substantial than they are like a pike.
Oh god, dude, they're fucking.
They're like daggers.
Yeah, they're insane, and it's just the strength and power of these fish. Like I have caught a lot of different fish species, versus salt, freshwater. Nothing compares to these fucking things. It's not even close. Like even like the steelhead, the salmon I've caught up in, up north does even compare. And we did like a half day, 4.5 hours, got a few on the boat. I threw the pictures are on my Instagram and like videos on TikTok and stuff. And it was just a blast. I told him, I was like, dude, I was like, if I take you on my boat now and you catch a fucking like 2-pound bass, you're gonna be like, well, this is fucking stupid.
Oh
like,
yeah.
This ain't even. I was like, your first fucking fish you ever caught was a 30 plus inch Barracuda, and yeah. So it was just it was just a blast, dude.
There we go.
There it is.
There's
there it
the
is.
pick.
Yeah. So there's his first fish that he's ever caught, man. Like, he's never gone fishing before, and that's the first fish he ever catches.
That is so freaking awesome, man.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
that is a great fucking fish. And look on his face, he is fucking stoked.
Oh
dude.
yeah. Yeah, and that's our guide Tony. He was the man. He was, he does this shit full time. And
So what were you guys using for bait? It looks like a huge Senko.
dude, you know what it is? It's a piece of fucking surgical tube.
Okay.
It's just a piece, I was like, I was talking to a guy about, I was like, dude, I spent all this money on all this fancy fucking lures
Yeah.
and shit. I was like, and you're using surgical tube. So what it was, it's a piece of surgical tube. He runs the line through it. He gets an egg sinker, lead egg sinker.
Oh, okay.
That basically, you can stuff in, it stops. He takes a leader from the egg sinker down to a big treble hook that is at the end of it. And he makes sure he bends it. He makes sure the surgical tube is bent a little bit. So when you're reeling that thing, it's kind of spiraling.
Gotcha.
And that's what kind of catches their attention.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's all it is, dude. I was like,
wild.
I can't. He's like, yeah, dude. I just buy a shit ton of it on like Amazon or whatever. And,
That's amazing.
fucking surgical tube, dude. Fucking surgical tube. But yeah, dude, we had a blast. We saw a couple manatees while we were out there, a couple shark. We did see a couple sharks.
Yep.
They're off a little bit. And he didn't have the set, because I told him tarpon barracuda, so he didn't really have the setup for sharks.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, he's like, if I was, it's a smaller boat, you can only put so much shit on there. But
For sure.
He's like, fuck, dude. He's like, I wish I brought something like to throw out to it. We couldn't even. It looked like, he said it looked like probably like a 6-foot bull shark or something that we saw, and then we saw a smaller like reef type shark. But yeah, so we saw those things moving around, and it's crazy, dude, because we're like fishing anywhere from like 8 feet to like a foot of water, dude. Like in the Keys, like that
no
back
shit.
country, like
Yep.
that, those flats.
Yep.
Sandbars, like shit like that. And yeah, dude, like we saw this giant loggerhead like turtle, like the giant sea turtles,
Yep.
fucking ginormous, right next to the boat.
It's like 500 years old. Like, what's up,
Dude, yeah, like barnacles
fucking
all
nuts.
over it and shit, dude. It was like, I think it was probably like 350 pounds.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
it was huge. But yeah, dude, it was such an awesome experience. Mark it off
fucking
the bucket
awesome.
list. I still got to get my tarpon. I've been thinking about doing a long weekend down there with Meg and trying to
There you
because
go.
it was just kind of early for the migration. The water temp just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
He said we were sitting at like 70 degrees, and you needed to be at like 74, 75 before the tarpon start to move in.
Gotcha. Yeah.
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 So
Huh.
I might wait a month or so and do a long weekend with Meg, and
It's not a bad idea, man.
but oh god, dude, it was wild. The fishing trip was wild. The trip itself, I work, it was a working trip, guys. So
That's
I
what
did
I'm
work
saying,
a bit.
yeah.
I did work a bit, but man, we had a blast. It being most likely my last trip of my career, it was a doozy. It was well worth it. It was a good one to go out on.
Yeah.
And,
That's awesome, dude. Good for you.
yeah, appreciate it.
That's freaking badass.
Yeah, dude. If you ever get the chance, dude, you gotta do it.
So I do have I had an interaction with a barracuda one time.
Okay.
It's quite a different situation. Picture it. Western Massachusetts, 1994.
Okay.
I had just gotten my driver's license. It was spring. And
Okay.
it was April, actually. And I had it's like I've been waiting like years at this point to get some freedom. Like living in a small town with no like
Sure.
regular like public transportation or anything. Like this is the moment, And I get my license, and it hadn't even really dawned on me, but my parents were like, hey, we're all going to go on a cruise, and we're going to go and have ourselves a good time. We're going to love it. You're going to love it, whatever. So I said, okay, is it cool if I just hang out back here? I'm I can get myself where I got to go. And they're like, no, you're coming with us. It's like, all right. And I was like, no, this is bullshit. So I go on this cruise, and my dad, actually, we're going on the boat. And there's a guy there who's like, okay, so everybody who is under 18, raise your hand or whatever. And I go to raise my hand, and my dad grabs my wrist, and he's like, nope. And I was like, okay. And he did that so I could drink on the trip.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, all right. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm hanging out. Everything's cool. Well, one of the spots that we stopped in was Aruba. Aruba's amazing. Have you ever been?
That's one spot I haven't. I've been to a lot of them. Aruba, I've not been to.
It's a flat island. Like all the trees are like blowing like one way. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we go to this one spot, and I'm like, I don't know why, dude. I was just like crushing Heinekens. It was just my thing, I'm just like, all right, whatever. And I'm snorkeling.
Gotta get the Heine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm snorkeling and stuff, and I'm actually really enjoying it. Like I was pissed about going initially. It was a fucking amazing trip. We had a great time.
That's awesome.
So we're, I'm snorkeling. I'm in Aruba, and I'm off. And like where we were, it was just like hotels with different beaches around there, all over the place. And I went a little bit too far, and just because I was chasing like the views, I was like, whatever. I'll come back to wherever I got to, or if I need to, I'll get out and I'll walk back. So I'm coming along, and I see a fucking Barracuda up against like some kind of a fucking coral or something on the bottom, like a plant or something. I don't know. Like just kind of perched over there. I was like, nope. I'm like, I'm not fucking around with that. I was like, fuck you. So I'm like, it was just amazing. So I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go up now, get my bearings as to where I am, and then figure out how to get back to the spot where I'm supposed to be. So I get up, and as I start walking over, I'm carrying my mask and my snorkel, and I'm wearing my swim trunks and everything, and I'm walking up, and there's like a fucking 70-year-old woman that comes walking toward me, and she's like, are you on this beach? Is this the beach that you're supposed to? And I'm like, no. And as I get a little closer, I can see this woman is bare ass naked. Now this was, I don't know if things had changed at some point, but this was in the like I said, 94, mid 90s, and I go and I'm like, hello, let's fucking get out of here. So I went back into the water just to where I could fucking snorkel down to where I was. And I was like, all right, we're good. It was interesting. I don't know. It was more frightening.
It's funny because you're 18 and you're like, oh, this like 70-year-old lady. She was probably like 40, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Like, Jay Manning, hello, this is Fuzz. It was just one of those things where I'm like, this woman looked like she needed no more sun. I remember,
just leather, dude.
There is, that like I've seen back seats of Buicks that look better, more, they've aged better. Just ridiculous. But so that's my situation with a Barracuda.
So, another quick funny snorkeling story. So I was doing that with on a trip with my ex-wife. And we were in Dominican Republic, Punta Cana. Nice. And we did the like reef snorkeling or whatever. And I'm just like observing the reef, like having fun. And then but it's like 30 feet down, but it's like so clear. It seems like closer. You know what I mean? And she's like next to me, and an eel comes out of the reef, dude. Like it's still 30 feet away, like a big ass eel like comes out, and she like panics, grabs me, and I'm like breathing in the snorkel, and like pulls me down. So I inhale a mouthful of fucking water. So like in my like salt water in my lungs, dude. I think maybe that was the point where it all went downhill. I don't know, but
this bitch trying to drown me.
I was so like it ruined the trip. I was so fucking mad, dude. I was like, are you kidding me? I was just hacking and coughing the rest of the time. I was like, I was so pissed. But that's my quick brutal. Funny snorkeling story.
That is fucking just brutal, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So before we get into headlines, we had something interesting come up. Now, was it last week's episode? Or I think it was last week's episode. We used the picture that I took a selfie of myself with Howie in the background. And I didn't even realize at the time that you kind of popped in and photobombed that sucker. And we got a message today from the guys at The Catch. And, and they were like, let me go ahead and look it up, because I sent them a bunch of links. They go, they commented on the story, and I told them, yeah, links were incoming. And they were like, they said something. They're just like, what's Joe doing to that guy? What's happening? What is he doing to that guy in the background? And I was like, that guy? I'm like, that's Howie. So I said, I'm going to send you guys some links. And I sent them links to 3 episodes. One, the first time that we had Nate Shagnon on the show.
Okay.
And that was actually kind of when we broke the introduction to Howie. Was on that show. And I'm going to explain some of the stuff about that. And then there were 2 more that popped in. One when Howie had kind of gone missing, and he was the cover artwork for that one. That title is New Format, New Segments, and More. It's actually those folks listening to Jigs and Bigs, that episode is where we brought that segment from. So Howie was on the cover of that because at this point we had gone through this story about how Howie had run off with a Russian liquor smuggler named Alexei, and he had kind of taken off to Russia, and there was this whole thing going on with some vodka near Chernobyl that was made from like apples near Chernobyl. And then they ended up, that was also the introduction where Bobcat Goldthwait bumped into the whole situation and became part of it. It was a little bit odd. And then we had a situation where they called us again from another location. This was, I think it was in India. And it was Bobcat and Howie. I don't know that Alexei. I don't remember if Alexei was there with them or he had abandoned them. He might have abandoned them. It was a little bit sketchy.
I remember.
So, and you've been listening, Joe, like from the beginning. So you know all this shit, right?
Yeah.
So I sent this to them because, and I remember telling the story. Remember, I when we were in Columbus, I was talking about what Howie was all about. So I mean, this was Howie was kind of like Shaun the Fisherman's like invention, you know? So, So that guy in the picture, that Howie, in fact, you could see the mugshot.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's the same cardboard cutout that we took a picture with. Not the same exact one, but the same design. That's from there's parts of this I don't think that you know, Joe. But
maybe. He
had he was a marketing I guess, what do you call it? He was like a marketing tool. They would put him in Hobie pedal kayaks. And he was actually robotic from the waist down. Like there were cardboard legs, but a motor would make him pedal.
Gotcha.
The fin drive, you know? And people thought that was cool. Well, and we discovered him. We went to Three Bells the first time. And first thing out of Sean's mouth when we were getting the tour, he's like, what is that and can we have it? No bullshit. And Lauren and Derek were like, we have a few of those. Yeah, that's Howie Hobie. And so we're like, okay, cool. We'll figure something out. So the first segment of in that episode with Nate Shagnon, where we talk with Howie, I do a one-on-one interview explaining we came up with this story where Howie was our intern. And
that's right.
Howie was English. We decided to make him British. and the thing is, and the reason why we thought of that was because somehow in the ether, Sean had brought up this idea of this adult-oriented podcast for women. And it was voiced by a British guy. And it involved like a lot of like voyeurism and all kinds of like just really just kind of creepy shit. So Sean did the hard work here and he went through and he found a bunch of little sound bites. And then he sent me time cues and I went and cut them all out. And then he wrote questions. He's like, so stick to kind of this, keep it conversational. And then that's what I did. So all of the responses are come from this X-rated podcast with this British guy. Funny. So fucked up. It gets even better though, because we're like, that was fun, but like we're limited to what he says in the thing. Sure. We happen to have a guy. We happen to know a guy, a really good friend of the show. Joe knows this guy, the one and only Mr. Chris DeBari. Chris DeBari is a master of voiceover like you do not understand. He can nail so many different accents and do them so convincingly well. And then, so not only did he voice the English voice for Howie, like listening to this podcast and then saying, okay, I can emulate that close enough. And dude, he fucking nailed it. Like he nailed it. So he does this and it's great. Sean and I are like, this is awesome. We can fool around with some great stuff. And out of nowhere, like the Bobcat thing comes in. So we're like, we got to include that.
Yeah.
And like Chris is so good at this, so unbelievably good at this. Well, here's the thing that makes the thing so fucking amazing. These are at least 3 episodes. There might be another 1 or 2 where Howie makes an appearance somewhere in there, or maybe just as an Easter egg or something. But we've done this a bunch, and we've kind of created this persona that this guy Howie with this likeness, this same image, is just an absolute sexual deviant prankster that lives on the edge and is just a mess. We found out probably about a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago. The guy's real. Like he's not a model that like, you know, like a stock photo that they made a thing after or something like that. No, he works for Hobie. I think his name is Howie. I don't think it's actually Howie Hobie. Right. But we have John Carter says Howie Felter Snatch. Nice, John. So we have been running his reputation and likeness in and out of the gutter for going on 5 years now, realistically. And it's just a mess. But I was reminded, I was like, man, we used to do some crazy shit like that. And Sean and I thought it was absolutely fabulous. We were like, and we were more entertained than anything. The fact that anybody got a laugh out of it was just gravy. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that was some good shit. So if you're interested, if you're a new Jigs and Bigs listener, if you haven't gone through that back catalog, you can fire me a DM and I'll send you links to all of these episodes right here. I may actually make life a little bit easier and actually just take some of those clips and string them together so that people can enjoy them. Maybe this episode's going to be a relatively short one, I feel. So maybe even tonight I'll go ahead and put that together. Who knows? It's all going to depend on when the edibles kick in, to tell you the truth. It really is. So yeah, that's and it's just crazy that Matt and Brad were like, well, who's that guy that Joe's accosting or whatever it was that they said. I was like, oh, I got some shit for you boys.
There's a backstory.
There's 100% a backstory, and you're I'm gonna actually put that picture up because I can. Here it is. Oh, and their comment's probably right here. Yeah, it says looks like Joe's about to baptize whoever that is in the pic. and the pic is this right here. Hobie Howie, freaking hell. Just unbelievable. Let's go ahead. You want to do get some headlines done while we're here?
Let's do some headlines.
Let's do some fucking headlines.
All right, so I got 2 headlines for you guys. One fun, one not so fun. Well, one fun if you've like drank like 36 beers or whatever.
Fair.
So we're gonna start with that one first. So headline here: man pretending to be captain arrested after stealing $8 million fishing boat with the crew still aboard.
Oh,
authorities say the crew knew something was off when the man started talking about meeting the Chinese mothership. So. A Washington man was arrested earlier this month after he allegedly stole an 80-foot commercial fishing boat with a crew still on board and tried heading out to sea. Authorities with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife say the 42-year-old suspect, identified in local news outlets as Joshua Stedman, had gone onto the $8 million boat by pretending he was the captain. He was able to convince the crew to leave the dock, at least for a short while. Stedman, who remains in jail, reportedly boarded the 80-foot vessel, the Jamie Marie, around 9 a.m. on February 8th. The boat was docked in Westport, a popular commercial fishing port at the southern end of the Olympic Peninsula. He immediately woke the crew and told them they needed to get underway. The newer crew did not know the captain, but didn't argue, thinking he was an alternate operator or someone sent by the real captain, and WDFW police wrote in a Facebook post on Wednesday. He surely acted the part as he knew how to start and operate the large vessel. Stedman's charade didn't last long, however, as he started saying some questionable things that made the crew suspicious. He was talking about meeting the Chinese mothership and was not making sense, the police wrote. He certainly was not describing fishing activity. Authorities say the boat was on its way out of the harbor and about to head into the open ocean when one of the crew members finally called the real captain and realized they'd been duped. The imposter skipper then turned the ship around and brought it back to port around 9:30 a.m. 2 police sergeants were waiting for Stedman back at the dock where he was arrested by officers with the Westport Police Department. He was found in possession of $4,000 in cash along with a large amount of marijuana that was already weighed and packaged individually for sale. Authorities also learned that Stedman had boarded another commercial boat in Westport earlier that morning, but had been run off by the crew. They didn't report the incident until later when they had heard about what happened aboard the Jamie Marie. Stedman was booked in the Grays Harbor County Jail on charges of theft, possession of stolen property, vehicle prowl, and additional drug charges. He is currently being held there on $250,000 bail.
Jeez. It reminds me.
Got duped.
It reminds me of an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Love that show.
You know the one where they're going to see like the Thunder Gun sequel and like the whole city's blocked down and
Yes.
Danny DeVito gets on the boat and he's giving a tour to a bunch of like visiting like tourists and he's just like, oh yeah, and over here the gang did this and such. It's fucking great.
I was watching an episode of that one day. Megan like never seen it, and I was trying to explain the life of cricket to her.
Oh my God, yes.
She's like, oh God, that dude's fucked up. I was like, let me tell you about cricket, where cricket started in this in this series.
Have you seen the episode with when Cricket's family tries to take him back and give him a job, and he makes out with the dog and shit? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
I think I've seen them all at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That's
such an underrated good show.
Oh, 100%. It's wild too. Like this guy on this boat, like there's so many red flags that just got missed. You know?
So many. Oh, what's that fucking movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? Catch Me If You Can.
Oh,
based on true events, where he's like an airline pilot, but he's not really an airline pilot, and like all this other shit.
Yeah, that's 100% like a Catch Me If You Can kind of moment.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Mothership.
All right, so we're going to shift gears here a little bit, and we're going to talk about a more crazy story that doesn't have the best ending.
Okay.
This one came to me this came to my attention because of our favorite Canadian, Mr. Nick DeShane.
Yep.
So this story came out February 25th, 2025, and the headline here is Angler Pulled Overboard by Shark.
Yes.
The unthinkable happened to experienced Australian angler Paul Barning, leaving the crew of his boat stunned. The group was fishing in a tournament about 30 nautical miles east of Newcastle, Australia, when the angler was pulled overboard while battling a large shark. On Sunday, February 23rd, Paul's boat was participating in the New South Wales Game Fish Association's Inter-Club State Championships. The group was attempting to unhook a large mako shark, according to the Sydney Morning Herald, and bring it aboard, presumably to weigh it back at the dock. When Barning became tangled in the line, it was believed the shark got free from the crew and pulled him overboard. After the entanglement, we believe the shark has submerged, pulling the man into the water, said the New South Wales Police Superintendent during a press conference. Upon news of the tragic event, the tournament was immediately stopped. The 40 vessels in participation joined the rescue efforts in an attempt to find Barring. Paul Barring, current secretary, past president, and life member of Port Hacking Game Fishing Club, was a highly experienced game fisherman. New South Wales Game Fish Association President Steve Lamont said in a statement issued on Monday. He was tragically lost at sea in the most unlikely of circumstances whilst fishing on his boat Dark Horse off Port Stevens on Sunday. Preliminary reports indicated that Baring was attacked by the shark, but Lamont shut down those claims in the release. Some reports you may have been indicates he was attacked by the shark after falling overboard. This is fabricated and untrue news reporting. The police superintendent noted that Baring wasn't wearing a life jacket, which might have assisted in the recovery. Authorities will continue to look for Baring and plan on expanding the search radius, but McNulty cautions that recovery efforts will be difficult as the area experienced currents of 4.5 miles per hour or greater. He also highlighted the importance of wearing a life jacket. Doesn't matter how experienced you are, how long you've been fishing, please wear a life jacket. It's a safety message. It's a safety message that we really need to get out to all members in the boating community, he said. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife Leonie, his son Sam, and daughters Eleanor and Bridget in this trying time. We also have the crew and their families in our thoughts and prayers. To those participants at the tournament that assisted in the search efforts, we thank you. There's also a GoFundMe set up by Lamont to assist the family in this tragic time. And this happened on the 23rd of February. As of today, March 3rd, he has still not been recovered.
Yeah, he's not going to be found.
He's never going to be recovered.
He is probably shark poop by now.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Probably.
That's what I'm thinking.
John chimes in here. He goes, Makos are literally a fish with a Hemi engine and a mouthful of daggers. That's rough. It really is. I'll tell you what, man. I don't fuck with sharks. I see a lot of videos, and don't get me wrong, man, they are cool. Like, especially even these surfcaster shark fishermen. Like,
yeah, those are cool videos to watch, man.
They're very cool. It's not something that I ever see myself like wanting to go and do. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm all set with that, just simply because of, like, you know, sometimes you're taking the hook out of these sharks' mouths, and like they're like not quite on the land, they're still in the water, and you get a big enough wave that can, you know, have you lose your balance, and you can take a nice fucking bite. You know what I mean?
But it's like. It's even like these surf cat and like you and like, yeah, cool. Most of these guys have been doing it forever. But let's say, Bobby, let's say you and I are down in Myrtle Beach area. And we're like, dude, let's go get some surf casting gear, grab a shit ton of beers, and let's fucking fish for sharks. And then we hook into one.
And you're like, fuck.
Fucking then what, dude?
Yeah.
Then what? Like, you know, I don't know. Like, now I got to figure out how to get the fucking hook out of this thing's mouth. Like,
and like with this guy, like when you started talking about the titles that he held with the fishing club, I'm like, he wasn't a newbie.
No,
he knew the danger and everything. Like, man, that is crazy, dude. And then, speaking of sharks, there was a video that came across my way. I think it might have been Nick that actually sent this to me, and I think he was like, "This is why I don't fuck with sharks." There's a video of, I'm pretty sure it's a dead croc, floating up on the beach, like just off the shore, just kind of chilling. And there's like two sharks that come up and just start tearing it apart.
That's so crazy.
And I'm like, when the two of those beasts can coexist in an area, in a geographic region, that is not for me.
Not even put my fucking toes in that water.
I will take up fly fishing before I start doing that shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. Yeah, I can't do that's terrible. I especially feel for his family and whoever else was on that boat, because I'm sure that they're just like, fuck, you know, like I can't imagine.
What could I have done different?
Responsibility. That's terrible. Yeah. Terrible, you know? Yep. Oh, wow. Fuck, I can't even imagine that shit. And, you know, I mean, I know people who fish for sharks. And they ain't right. I also know people who used to change light bulbs on like broadcast towers. They ain't right at all. And they're kind of the same people.
Those guys come across my TikTok every once in a while, and I'm deathly afraid of heights.
Oh my God.
That's my one. That's heights and snakes, dude. My two fears. And
fucking nope ropes. Yep.
So I'm the guy who like will watch that video on TikTok sitting on my couch, dude, and I start to get like the lighthead feeling like I'm up there with them, dude. I'm like, oh, I can't even watch this.
This is how bad the heights were for me. I can remember, man, I was a young fucking punk. And don't do this, kids, by the way. I was a couple of friends of mine. We were in a city not in Massachusetts, and there was a building that was like 4 stories high, has a billboard on it, and the highway goes right by. And we had spent the early part of the early part of the evening climbing a fence at a local driving range that was closed, and filled up this giant duffel bag with golf balls.
Okay.
And then we went up the fire escape of this building. And proceeded to just pitch these balls at tractor trailer trucks.
Oh my God, dude, you go to prison for that shit.
I know
now.
you. Yeah, 100%. And getting up there wasn't really an issue. Going to the edge was a problem. I was that's when I realized how fucking high I was. I couldn't go to the Grand Canyon, and like something like that and look over. Like there are people, they have those bridges that are fucking glass.
Nope.
I wonder if there's a fucking janitor that's going to clean up the fucking mess I'm going to make out there standing there. Jesus Christ. Like I discovered that fear of heights, and it's like, I'm okay with like tall ladders and stuff like that. And I'm okay with airplanes. I can look out the window of an airplane, no problem,
Yep.
But you put me on a building that's more than a couple stories high, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know what it is. I was like shaking coming down this fire escape because like you can see right through everything. Fire towers, like I've been on hikes where there's like a fire tower you can climb up, and I'm like, fucking scares the shit out of me. It's crazy.
I remember it was with Meg. I can't remember what city we were in. Fuck. And we were on like the 20th floor, dude, of a hotel. And like huge windows. Like, and I wouldn't even go near them.
Like floor to ceiling.
I wouldn't even go near them. Yeah.
It's like, I've had people go like, they're like, are you that fucked up? You think you're going to jump? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what to
maybe
tell
that
you.
Maybe that glass will disappear and I'll fall. I don't know.
Oh man, it was fucking crazy. And like the dudes, when we're like, again, don't do as I did. Like when I've done stupid shit in my life.
Yep.
I was like, wow, that's how I discovered my fucking fear of heights. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Not fun.
No bueno.
Yeah, not fun at all. Scary fucking shit, but wow. Why don't we go ahead? We'll take a short break, guys. We're going to come back with more Jigs and Bigs goodness after this. We got a Just a Tip for you guys. We got a little bait of the week. And then we'll go ahead and we'll wrap this sucker up in a nice little package, man. It is spring is about to kick. I'm expecting to see crocuses popping up in my backyard within the next few weeks. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far.
And perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
It's that time. The tips are going to be coming flying left and freaking right because
they're coming.
It is. They're coming. It's time. People are going to be on the water. They're going to have questions. They're going to have. We're going to encounter some shit, and you've got a tip, which is freaking amazing for us, Joe. I do.
And this is a great tip to get you ready for that upcoming fishing season, that open water fishing, the stuff that we love here at Jigs and Bigs.
Yep.
Let's talk about preparation. So this is a little quick one, just kind of stuff to look over so you don't cause yourself a mess on the water that first time out. So essentially a great way to get ready for bass season or any other season, you need to inspect first your fishing line.
Yes.
Sometimes you can get a couple seasons out of them, but over time, mono and fluoro lines, they tend to weaken due to constantly being in the sun with that UV exposure and abrasion that, from, little nicks you might not see. And, braid can always, that braid can break down with the frays and stuff, but tends to last a little bit longer. So make sure you're checking that. And, any line that you see that looks that could be replaced, strip off that old line, and re-spool it with fresh line, for whatever conditions you're going to be, fishing, whether you're, the fluoro for that, finesse stuff, mono for the top water, jerk baiting stuff, or that braid for that heavy cut, however you want to do it. And, So make sure you're doing that before the season. Don't find out the hard way that you had some bad line on your reel. I can tell you, Bobby and I have both been there.
Oh yeah,
it sucks.
It definitely sucks.
Yes, and the second thing, check your rods for damaged guides.
That's huge.
Yep, I that has happened to me where I didn't notice that a guide had lost an insert and frayed my line. So make sure you're checking your guides and your rods. Make sure your guides are in the position that they're supposed to be in. Lubricate your reels, especially those bait casting reels. Don't that sand, dust, dirt can get into those gears. And just organize your tackle. See what you have to buy. See what you're low on. Don't go out there and be like, shit, I don't have any of those, 1/16 or 3/16 drop shot, weights.
Yeah, terminal tackle is a big one.
Terminal tackle is a huge one.
It is.
And don't do yourself the favor of going through all your stuff and checking and seeing what you need before you get on the water.
Yeah.
Don't find out what you need by having a bad, crappy situation.
Yep.
Realizing, shit, I need to replace this line, or this rod's junk because of this guide, or your reels grinding, whatever. Or you're out of fucking hooks, weights, or whatever. So do that. Start to do those inspections now. I've started. I know Bobby started. Can it get expensive? Sure, depending on the type of fishing you do. But do yourself a favor. Save yourself the headache. Do that stuff now, not after you already start the season.
I'm going to add one thing to that.
Let's hear it.
So if you're a new user of bait casters, or let's go there. If you're a relatively new user of bait casters, maybe last season you just got into them and you're like, yeah, I got this. I feel pretty good about this. Do yourself a favor and go out and start fucking casting in your backyard with like a flipping weight on or something like that to get the mechanics down. Because especially if you're a newbie and you're bringing out one or two rods, maybe you're bringing out that 7 foot, a medium heavy fast and for your bait caster, and then you're bringing out a spinning combo with it, so you can do a bunch of different stuff with those two rods. You don't want to make that cast with your rod you're expecting to throw heavier gear on, jigs and shit like that, and blow it up with a crazy bird's nest right there. Like, get the mechanics out before your plan is to fish. So go ahead and practice your pitching, all that shit, so you don't fuck it up. I've seen a lot of folks that have been out fishing and they're like, I was in that position when I first started where I would bring multiple setups that were extremely similar. And I'd be like, all right, well, this rod's dead to me. I'm not going to bother spending the time, picking this out or anything. Now I've gotten really good at picking out almost any kind of a bird's nest. Almost any kind of bird's nest. There's a couple.
There's a couple.
But like for the most part, go out there. Don't waste that first trip, getting all frustrated because the mechanics aren't there. Because if you've been sitting for 3 or 4, sometimes 5 months, people have been sitting, not fishing. You kind of get a little overzealous and you fucking send that spinnerbait and you're like, it just blows up on you.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it a bunch. I've had it happen to me. Get the mechanics again. Do yourself a favor. If you can't take the time to do it in advance, start slow. You know what I mean? Check those brakes, check the tension, all that stuff. Make sure that you're set so you're not fucking things up. It's the worst when I see people do it and they're like, they did change their line out. You know what I mean? And it's brand new line. And I'm like, my God. Oh, I have so much line. Like I've got to change out. Actually, I've got there's 3 spools that I throw that use 12-pound fluoro that I have to re-spool. But other than that, I'm pretty much good.
That's awesome.
I love this. John Higgins throws in a comment. He goes, I use a lot of heavy line because of the type of fishing that I do. He's like, I put my line through hell fishing heavy cover. Usually have to respool each of my rods twice a year. That kind of makes sense. If you're fishing in like really sketchy shit and you're beating your line up anyway, it's not the worst thing ever. And that's where you kind of thank yourself for putting like a decent amount of backing on. So you're not changing a full like 150 yards at a time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude. No, I like that. That's a really, really, really good tip. Let's go ahead. We'll talk gear of the week because I'm interested.
Okay, gearheads, it's time to talk tools. Jigs and Bigs gear of the week.
So this one is way too early to be talking about, but I was so excited to get it in the mail. So I believe I was with you, Bobby, when I went to the Big Bass Dreams booth and they had a lure there, and I was like, man, I want to get that lure. And I miscalculated how many they were going to sell, and the next day they were all sold out.
Was that the crawler that they had? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I had to track this. So once I wanted it, I was like, I need to get this thing. So I end up getting this Defiant Little Bird. I'm sorry, Defiant Baby Bird topwater crawler. This is the Blackbird at 4.5 inches, 1.6 ounces. Let me pull it out of the box here. I still got a long time before I could even think about using this thing. But check this thing out.
Yeah, that's
so.
This
is a crawling style bait, right?
Yep.
So this is actually the smaller one.
Yeah.
The larger one would have been far too big for really anything we have here. It's a pricey bait. I believe this one was about $65. Yep. But it's one of those things that I'll probably only use a couple times, but I just have to catch a fish on this thing, and I have to do some content in a video of me catching fish on this. But just the paint job on it is, let's see if I can get it. So it's basically a blue purple like fade. You can kind of see it a little bit right there.
Oh yeah.
But it's just a cool bait. Defiant makes awesome.
They really
baits.
do. So, I mean,
again, way too early, but I was so excited to get this in. I had to tell you guys about it. And I'm going to catch fish on it, man. I mean, it comes in this fancy box.
Have you ever thrown one of those before? Not that specific, but a crawler style bait.
I've never thrown a crawler style bait before.
You're going to think it's broken when you throw it. The way it comes back, and people talk about like, especially a big crawler like that, people talk about like deep cranking, and they're just like, oh man, my arm's killing me.
Yeah, I can see that with the resistance.
Oh my God, because it resists, and it just fucking
yeah.
Like it is not a subtle lure at all. I have a handful of different crawlers of various sizes.
Sure.
They are a lot of fun, and you'd be surprised at what's gonna go after that.
Oh, I'm sure, like everything from big bass to little bass.
Oh,
to,
fucking
to
rock
maybe
bass.
even a pike. Yeah. So crazy.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts.
You're gonna have a blast with it. It's a good freaking time, and especially like that color for like low light at night, as it's getting dark. Yeah, dude, that's gonna be unbelievable.
Yep. And that's my favorite time to top water fish. My local spot here is at dusk.
John chimes in. He goes, it looks like a purple martin. They fly just above the water to drink, and sometimes they crash land. Makes for an awesome concept. It totally does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's dude, crawlers are just amazing. I actually have a crawler, like it's an antique. It looks like a bat with like an outer like skeleton. It's just black and silver. And it's more like conventionally sized. You could throw it on. I would throw it on the same rod that I use for like floating jerks and walking baits. That's what I would throw it on.
Yeah.
But it is awesome. It came from my dad's tackle box back in the day. This was like the lure I was obsessed with as a kid.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like, oh yeah, maybe I should throw this. He's like, I don't even know what the fuck. What would we throw that on?
The first, like when I really started to get interested in checking out crawler baits, you know, I watch ND Yak Angler all the time.
Oh yeah.
There's a few different crawlers he's thrown and just caught monsters on. So.
Yeah, it is 100% like it is, and it's a slow moving bait. Like you're not like burning it. Like you could lighter ones, you could burn them, but to get the right action, you're just you're crawling it through. You're gonna be surprised, dude. Good. I'm glad you got it, because I remember you were bummed when they were sold out.
I was bummed when it was
Hell
gone.
Yeah. I will say they had tried to sell me hard on the pike glide baits that they have. The segmented glide.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, this is so fucking cool. But I'm like, I have too many big baits like that. I don't need to add anything else to the arsenal, for right now. If there was actually one type of big bait that I need to focus more on, it's more of the plastic, the rubber with the single
soft,
jig hook.
Yep.
Stuff like that. I have to give more of that its due, but that's fucking.
I just ordered some of those too. Maybe we'll talk about them next week. Or the week after.
Maybe we should do like a fucking night send where all we do is throw fucking giant baits.
Oh, I would love that.
Big wakes, fucking crawlers, like just giant top water.
Yeah,
and see what happens.
I would love that. I would love it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's fucking awesome, dude. And yeah, you're right. Way too early to talk about it now, but
way too early.
You know, it's funny. The thing is it's also conditional, you know, because like if you throw a bait like that and they're just like, it's about the noise and everything, and you throw it in like 2 feet of water, you know, they're gonna smash it, you know,
100%.
But it's kind of hard to fucking just decide like, oh, I'm gonna throw this here. You know, you can cover some water and shit. Fuck, that's awesome, dude.
Hell yeah.
Oh well, that is freaking badass. What are you gonna throw that on for a combo? As far as like an example for folks, because that's
probably
not a giant, but it's good size.
No, it's still over an ounce and a half.
Yeah.
So that's a great question. So I do have a couple swim bait combos. That I could throw it on with like, you know, almost like 300 series, you know, reels and, you know, heavy and extra heavy rods. But I do have a new rod. I got a 6 Sense ESP that is a heavy, and it's like a 7.3. I have to see what the rating is on it to see if I could do that. Yeah. And I have a reel. I think I could get away with doing a 150 reel with that, no problem. Because I have a couple new ones, but so I'm not sure. Most likely it'll just go on one of those, because I have like a heavy swim bait rod and then like an intermediate swim bait rod. So it'll probably go on that more like that intermediate. That like I got a Milliken one that I do like the bigger, like, or the medium, the more of the intermediate, like the middle size, like of like glide baits and stuff. So
see, with I have the swim bait like dedicated rod that I have is an extra heavy. That's it's rated up to like 6 ounces. And, And which is great. I mean, because I've got baits that are up in that window, like 5-6 ounces.
Sure.
But I've found actually that, and I think that a lot of people are just like, and I made this mistake. I was like, I'm going to buy the rod that's rated for the heaviest shit. And you don't always need that. And you know what I've actually found is that a lot of times my heavy, the same rod I use for frogging and flipping will do the job really well. Because I like a slightly more moderate action with that rod, and there was what I'm using for frogging right now is it's a Phoenix rod that Gravy Fishing had actually gifted to me. He was like, my family, you know, I got this new one as a gift. He's like, this thing's just sitting here. I just want it to get used. Take it. And the thing is great. I like to actually throw big buzz baits on this. Smaller buzz baits, larger buzz baits I'll throw on here too. But like 1.5 ounces, I could probably throw that. I'd have to just kind of be a little more gentle. Yeah. And you bring up ND Yak Angler, and I love this. There was one of his videos where he was talking about what he was throwing like a huge bait on, and he's like, yeah, this is not the combo that this is rated for.
I know exactly what video you're talking about. Yep.
And he's like, he gives some really great advice. He's like, if you're in a situation where you are throwing a presentation on something that's not ideal, like it's too heavy for it, he's like, it's more about just like be cautious with the way you're casting and
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's a right way to do it, and it's like you might not get the best distance, but you'll get it out there. You know,
it's the cast you gotta be worried about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Put too much force in it, and it's like, click, it's done.
Yeah, it's just gonna snap it.
Freaking bananas. Unbelievable, dude. Yeah, that's awesome. You're going to freaking smash them this summer. I think 2025 is going to be an amazing year.
It's going to be an amazing year for both of us.
And I think that this winter, like a lot of people are going and talking about the winter, I think of 2015 or 2018 maybe, like where it was something where it was like really, really cold. And it was just insane, like super, super cold. And the fishing that following year was really great for size of fish, both quantity and quality. And I'm hoping that we're going to have a similar situation this year. So, and that's sort of what is playing into my idea with this little series I'm throwing around for YouTube.
Perfect.
Who knows? We're gonna take a short break, guys, and we'll be back with more. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this.
Oh my God.
This is going to take a turn.
Oh my God.
Guys. Yeah. I don't even know necessarily how to intro this, but I'm just going to say that to everybody who's listening currently for this show, you should make sure you're sitting down, buckle up, because this is about to get interesting. All right? We'll see you guys after this segment with Howie. Okay, everybody, this is the second interview of the day. This show is so packed with good stuff. We've got 2 interviews, and in this segment here, you know, let's reveal a little bit here. I'm going to pull the beef curtain back a bit. For the last couple of months, we've been working with another staff member here at Jigs and Bigs. We've got an intern. His name is Howie. Howie's a good dude. We met him through Three Bells Outfitters. We were actually taking a tour of the building, and he was working on, I'm not going to get into the details, but we thought he was working in the shop, but he was actually working on himself, I think was what was going on. But while we were down there and doing our interview with Ted and with Lauren and Derek and you know all this other stuff, he was sort of lurking in the background, like kind of like really interested with what we were doing. Come to find out, he actually has a background in production. So he had a lot of questions for us, and a lot of oddball questions for us, things that seemed completely unrelated, you know, from any type of production, podcasting, anything at all. But you know, we seemed to hit it off, so we decided we'd bring him on as an intern. He could run and, you know, get us coffee. He could, you know, lube our knots. He could do, you know, whatever it is that you want to have your fishing podcast intern do. It's what we have him do. So anyway, our intern Howie is with us. Howie, how you doing today, buddy? How's things?
Let's get started. Needless to say, I'm excited to see you. So much so, I already have a hard-on that I'm trying desperately to hide.
You're just coming right out of the gate with that, Howie. Great. Okay. So let's go ahead. Why don't you tell me a little bit how you've been enjoying your intern role with us at Jigs and Bigs?
I can't believe my luck. There's been nothing but laughter and good times so far. I was worried there might be awkwardness between us.
You felt that before you met us?
I don't know when it happened exactly.
And then, to my surprise, you made it clear that you felt the same way.
All right. We were a little worried based on a few of the things we had heard about you. Hold on a second. Hey, hon, can you turn the heat down? Do you have the heat on? Turn it down, or kill that space heater. I'm sorry about that, guys. It's my wife had shut the heat off while we had some warmer weather, and with the cold weather over the weekend, she's kind of been, you know, kind of make up for it. So it's a little toasty in here. Anyway, you know, it is what it is. Go ahead, carry on, Howie. What were you saying?
It's humid and a little hot. I've raised the temperature in the studio to 100 degrees for a hot flow. I can tell you're struggling with the heat as sweat trickles down your face and down your chest.
Oh, It is. One thing's for certain, you've definitely become quite the prankster since joining us on the team. I know that you've had a little bit of fun with various vehicles and gas tanks and adding all types of additives, including sugar. So, that's cute. Is this another one of your little pranks?
Do you like it when I challenge you? Push you just that little bit?
It drives Sean nuts, but you haven't pissed me off yet. Let's get to fishing, though. Where did you get your start?
I was preparing to spend the winter cooped up in my downtown office when I got the call about a little college reunion weekend by the lake. But I was just a young, dumb guy, always chasing my next high.
Really? Where was it that you ended up going?
The national park. A camping trip sounded new and exciting to the both of us. A little escape from the madness.
What were your accommodations like on that trip?
No privacy. A huge, freshly cut pine tree sits in the corner of the entryway, half decorated with popcorn on string.
Fantastic. I've heard that you're quite the lake trout angler. Were you trolling or casting for them?
Casting.
Excellent. I find that casting takes more skill because, generally you've got the coordination involved, the weight of the lure, the rig that you're actually throwing it on. It seems to take a little bit more. How did you end up making out on the trip?
We spent way too many nights getting drunk on cheap red wine. Nadia demands that we drink more wine if we're going to be stuck in the dark all night.
So nothing on that trip, huh? That sucks.
There's no shame here.
Oh, of course not. Even the most seasoned anglers get skunked from time to time. In fact, I had last fall, I don't know if we explained this to you, but I had a little a series where I was skunked for about 4 or 5 weeks where I had shaved off my beard, and I'm fairly certain it was my mojo that had really gotten stripped away from me. So it was about 5 weeks before I finally got on some other fish, but perseverance is the name of the game.
Did you do that on purpose? Or was it an accident?
I have to be completely clear with you. It was definitely an accident, and if anything, I'm guilty of trying to make it seem intentional by then creating a look that made me look very much like any bad guy in a Western anywhere. It was a combination of the mustache and soul patch that I had left that, to be honest, I think he'll deny it, but I think it kind of turned Sean on.
Very impressive.
How are you so good at this?
Thank you, but it's just God delivered for it. I signed it. It is what it is. Let's get back to your trip though. Were there any particular patterns that you used?
Bright red today. Very nice.
Have you landed any fish that weekend? Would you have caught and kept, or would you have put them back?
I release it in all its glory.
Do you just release trout, or are there any species that you will eat?
You tell me.
Okay. Well, what about walleye?
I would love to get my hands and my mouth on them.
Well, that is pretty straightforward of you.
I think you like what you see because you smile wide.
I do in fact smile when I think of a fresh caught fish, and walleye is on my list of different species to try. Sean's fished with you once, and he said he mentioned that you tend to talk to your catches. He couldn't hear what it was that you said, but is there any chance that you'll let our listeners and the jig heads in on the sweet nothings that you whisper into their ears?
I think you like the idea of getting caught.
That's quite the take on how fish think.
Can't help but notice the smell of you is wafting at me. You smell heavenly, a mix of fresh laundry with a hint of muskiness.
You turned the heat up to 100. What was I supposed to do, not sweat?
That might be difficult.
And you look like you're enjoying this so much.
Actually, I'm not. And this prank is starting to get a little out of hand. How about we wrap this up and get you back to making jigs, fetching coffee, and providing reach rounds?
You need my help. Throw your head back and snort in indignation.
How is that going to help me with sweating?
I want to make you wait.
You're succeeding.
I know that look.
It's starting to hurt.
More so than usual.
Where is it exactly that you're going with this?
Maybe this week will answer that question.
You won't last a week unless you end this prank and get back to your work immediately.
Cool. The ease and confidence you exude pulsates through the hot room.
Howie, really, this is your last chance. Turn the heat off and get back to work or you're out of here.
I could sure use a holiday. Work always gets so hectic this time of year.
You're about to get a permanent holiday.
I look at you in disbelief. I want you to feel my presence. A few tugs with the palm of my hand. There's no way we could stop now. A jolt of electricity shoots through my body.
A sexy smirk spreads across your lips.
Admire our achievement.
What the hell are you talking about?
All I can think of is your nice feet in my hands, and your toes in my mouth, and those boots.
Great. Thanks for taking the time to introduce yourself to everyone, Howie. I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you on future episodes.
Biting my lip in anticipation.
I just can't help but wonder, will you be there?
Yes, of course. I'll be on future episodes. I'm the host. Thank you, Howie. And we'll see you around the studio.
You must have been so horny on the car ride up here.
Okay. That was a bit much. Anyway, guys, that was Howie. I hope you enjoyed it. Sheesh. I need a bath. So I'm recording this right now because Sean and I are doing a little pre-production meeting right now with a couple of other side projects that are sort of happening for Jigs and Bigs, and there is a call coming in. So Sean, I'm gonna patch this in because this is an international call, and I have a feeling this could get interesting. Either that or it's going to be very, very, very dull. I don't know. Let's see. So let's go ahead and patch this in and see what we got. All right. Hello, Jigs and Bigs.
Hello, boys. It's Howie.
Well, talk about a sound for sore ears. Howie, how have you been? Haven't heard from you since that voicemail when you were out, I guess traveling the great Russian countryside.
I've been greatly enjoying my holiday. We're here at Lake Krasnoy, fishing for Baltic sculpin, Caspian kuturi, abrow sprats, sturgeon, warbler, kaluga, char. I love char. So muscular char. Oh my, sorry.
Howie, you've been gone a little while. I have to say we're a little concerned, and not only are we concerned, Three Bells is actually pretty pissed off at us because
kind of did put a damper on our relationship with them a bit.
Yeah,
we feel pretty responsible for losing you.
So I have some serious questions. You know, I'd like to give you a chance to kind of explain yourself first beyond the fishing. Who are you with? What's going on? And did I or did I not see your name attached to a news article in the New York Post regarding vodka made from apples in Chernobyl? You got something to say about this?
Well, where do I start? I'm with Alexei still, just outside of Moscow. We've been comparing rods, seeing whose is stouter, which one has a faster tip. I found Alexei to be quite intimidating, but I've been able to handle it. He's been very good with me. Howie! Who are you on the phone with? Get over here! You've left my rod unattended for far too long.
Is everything okay over there? Howie, Alexei, are you on the line?
Boys! It's Alexei!
Oh, here we go.
Sorry, it's been a while. I got caught up riding bareback on a pig in the middle of Vladivostok. And I still have Howie with me. Howie, pick up that crate, put in backup truck.
So is Howie doing well over there by you? You know, taking good care of you. Is everything good?
Howie is fine. I apologize. I have to keep him a little longer. we ran into a group of Baltic Skalpin and Caspian Kotum. And of course, two beautiful accompaniments, Nadia and Olga. Olga's yeasty and trims her bush like beard of Lenin.
Okay, I know that Howie is a ladies' man, so I'm sure he enjoys that.
Oh, yes, you know it. Nadia is slim and well-traveled and extremely passionate about wine. I enjoy nightly watching her imbibe it, slowly getting ready to submit.
My God. Sounds like one hell of a trip. Well, I mean, if everybody is, good, is there any time that we can expect Howie to get back stateside? Alexi, will you be coming back with him?
It would appear I feel as if my travels must extend further. There are other places I must experience, grow in, if you know what I mean.
I don't want to know what you mean, Howie. What I want to know is who's coming back to pay this $400 sex hypnotism podcast bill. That was the premium service. Not like I'd know. Who's going to pay this? It wasn't me this time.
I don't know anything about that, sorry. Bye. Howie, get back over here. Lift that crate. Olga, fetch me some kolodits. Boys, you like kolodits? Huh?
What exactly are kolodits?
Come on, kolodits. It's pike aspic. Delicious. Delicacy here.
Really? Well, I'll have to take your word for it. It's nothing that I've ever had, but and I'm pretty adventurous.
Don't drop those bottles! Sorry. Bad things were about to happen. And I mean real bad. Like, big time bad. Like nuclear bad. Possibly. I don't know.
Nuclear bad. Yikes. Well, one thing that would definitely help kind of smooth the situation over, either Alexi or Howie, if you guys could contact, specifically, if you guys could reach out to Lauren over at Three Bells, let her know everything's good. We're going to do the same, but I know she would love to hear from you.
And I'm sure Interpol would as well.
That's true. That's a good point.
I don't know what you're talking. There's nothing nefarious going on here. Just a little vodka, taken from Chernobyl. We make it from the apples over there. They're amazing. They have great side effects, if you know what I mean, fellas. I'm going to send some of these bottles to Lauren at Three Bells. Give her my best wishes. And perhaps maybe some vodka to Wild Bill for the rattlebugs that just arrived out here at the camp via a donkey.
Wow. So you have the highly sought after rattling bugs. That's something interesting. How all this kind of stuff is tying together.
Of course, don't forget to let Wild Bill know. I'll see him soon and bring my wild worm.
Oh, really now? Okay. We'll be sure to pass along that message. He's probably going to listen to this and then shut it off immediately and then take a shower where he does a lot of crying, but that's okay.
I hope it's a hot shower. Steamy.
Steamy, okay. Let's get back on track here. So we're looking at about another 6 months before you're going to be back in the area. Howie, there's some big things that are going on for Jigs and Bigs. Are these things, are you going to be able to take some time away to do some work remotely to help us out, or we kind of left holding the bag here?
Perhaps when I make my way to Australia, I'll pick up a laptop again and consider your offer.
Okay, we'll take that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Just be safe. We don't want to anything to happen. I mean, you're sort of our responsibility, and I kind of feel like we may have legitimately dropped the ball a little bit, having you run off internationally with what sounds like an alcohol and who knows what else smuggler from Mother Russia.
Hold on. Sorry. Bobcat? No, don't drink that vodka. I I can't feel my toes.
What is going on over there?
We've been joined by a third. It would appear, hopefully not that long. That bugger Jeremy Wade tried to get in on my action.
Oh, it's getting real. It's getting real in Russia. Okay, I see how it's going. Well, I mean, I appreciate the call. Sean, do you want to jump in here at all?
We all know that Jeremy Wade filmed that episode of River Monsters in one of the rivers coming out of Chernobyl. Apparently, there's some sort of illicit activity going on with Alexei and vodka. I don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, what the hell is Bobcat Goldthwait doing over there?
How did this all get connected? Yeah. We got to know.
I don't know how I got here, but I'm here, and there's vodka. And these guys have been, really cool to me. Let me fish. And I like to eat fish heads. My mother's name was Fish Head. Let me tell you a story about a little boy who nobody loved and nobody let fish. And he used to pick on him. Like, why don't you know how to fish? Why don't you know how to fish? And they beat the shit out of him. Okay, boys, we got to wrap this up. We've got to finish loading vodka. Bobbers. For cousin Wojtek, and then, Bobcat, get over here. Olga and Nadia want to play Guess That Fish. Followed up by a round of St. Penisberg. Turn our medium light rods to extra heavies. I'm like, hi, ladies. How about you call me Sweet Chuck tonight?
Did that guy just say St. Penisberg?
He sure did, Sean. He sure did.
Hello? Bobby? Sean? It's Howie. Boob Scratch and I have found ourselves in quite the pickle. We ended up using most of the nuclear vodka as fuel and are now stranded somewhere in India in a jungle. Alexei ran the vodka truck into a tree and left us hanging. I fear we're in terrible danger. The jaguars are everywhere. Luckily, we found a large plastic phallus labeled Luckwood, and we've been able to hold them at bay. For now. Watch out, Bob Scratch! Take that! Boys, we're on our own. Please trace this call. Alexei left us days ago on a quest to noodle goonch catfish. I don't believe we'll ever see him again. I'm really hungry. Is there any place to get burger around here? Please, Bobby and Sean, help us. These birds are gross. Get away from me, you disease-winged rat.
Yeah, I don't know what's going now. Let's bring everybody up to speed because we've picked up some listeners since the last engagement we had. That call from Russia that came in from Howie and oddly enough somehow Bobcat was involved there and Alexei. Now he mentions Alexei in this call and that Alexei has left him to. Did he say noodle goonch catfish?
I think we've seen the last of Alexei.
I think
out noodling goonch catfish.
Yeah. I mean, Alexei always kind of struck me like he had a death wish anyway. It's probably the kind of situation, So for those listeners that don't know this story with Howie came to us through our connection at Three Bells Outfitters. We initially had gone for a couple of meetings and then decided to record down at Three Bells, and this was just back in February. And, he's got some background with production, so we thought maybe he would be a valuable resource. He snuck in and stowed away in Sean's truck, and we ended up dragging him back here. And we decided we would make him our intern around here at the Jigs and Bigs HQ. So we figured we would kind of make him an intern, see if he's got the chops production wise to make it work and everything else. And it went horribly off the rails, horrendously so. we had him on as a guest previously, and we learned that he is a man with a very twisted, perverse past.
And present.
Yeah. And then, oddly enough, he just sort of disappeared with this weird kind of character, Alexei. And then he ended up in Russia. And this is like, that's when we got that last call from him. And oddly enough, like Bobcat Goldthwait was bumbling around over there, which is kind of odd. And that call gave us some information regarding some nuclear vodka that had come from was it a Chernobyl crop of apples?
True.
I mean, it was nuts. It was absolutely insane. But that's what we're dealing with now. So now all of a sudden they're in India, fighting off, and I quote, jaguars.
Look, let's not mock the British here.
I shouldn't. But it's just, I find it's very odd that now we finally hear from them now that they've been kind of stranded by Alexei. And I mean, hopefully all goes well. That call he asked for help, and I don't know necessarily what we can do. If you're listening to the show and you know of a way that we could help out Howie and bring Howie home. I mean, we've tried in the past, but he's somehow managed to blow us off every single time we've tried to reach out to him. But very interesting. Maybe we have to get in touch with Nadia, the red wine drinker, and have her. Yes. Yeah.
Am I correct that Bobcat was asking for a burger place in India? I don't think that's very popular.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was trying to be funny or what, but yeah, something tells me that good luck. He's probably not going to find a burger place in India. I don't know.
We should probably let Three Bells know that he's not going to be back for the trifecta if he's in India.
No, he's definitely not going to be back for trifecta. That's for sure. And they weren't exactly happy that he wasn't there this time around. But I mean, we picked up the slack. We covered his ass because it's what we do. But Howie, man.
I mean, I remember the first time around when we got asked from Three Bells, how's Howie doing? My answer was, he's fine. We got him getting coffee, helping out with the production.
Yep.
He's in Russia, smuggling nuclear vodka across state lines.
And he said they used it as fuel?
Apparently.
What the hell is this?
I don't know.
Howie, I don't know about you, man.
I heard they could I heard they burn warts off mules with that vodka. It would power a truck, my guess.
In fact, didn't we just relive that interview with Howie on our way down to the Clutch Show, if I'm not mistaken?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
That was a mess. He's definitely left a mark, but I don't know. By leaving a mark, I'm not talking about herpes or anything like that. I'm sure that's been the case as well, but Howie's a
It's also very good to know that Lockwood branded toys
How did that
made
come
their way
into play?
across the ocean. No.
So for those that have no idea what we're talking about there, do y'all remember Boats and Scroats this last summer? We had a blast with Boats and Scroats. After the tournament and after all that was done, we had a huge get-together meet-up with everybody from the Hookset Hoodlums Pro staff, the Old Glory Outdoors Pro staff, and a bunch of friends of the show. And we had some listeners that popped in. We had a nice array. There was pizza, there was beer, there was Rocky Mountain oysters, aka bull testicles. There were. Yeah, it was magical. And at the end of the night, your dynamic duo right here, Sean the Fisherman and Bobby Roast Beef, left the one and only, you guys might remember Cody Van Zant, Lockwood Fishing on Instagram. He had left the party with a gift, if you will, an adornment on the rear of his trailer of phallic nature.
We really got to give credit where credit's due.
We really do.
While we may have been the masterminds behind this, there was a trigger man.
There was a trigger man.
The trigger man, which we have to. I want to give him credit. It wasn't us.
We have to. Yeah,
I would love to say it was, but no. This man was just expert level.
Yeah.
Of fastening a 12-inch giant dildo to the back of a tailgate of
massive.
I mean, securely enough that it made it all the way from Massachusetts to Maryland. Yeah, exactly.
Pretty
the size of that water bottle.
Yeah,
but we're not gonna rat anybody out.
Nope.
We're not narking out people here.
Nope.
that person who did this, you know who you are.
We want to give you a round of applause. Because you did well. You stepped up. You heard the call, and you stepped up. You answered the call. So that appendage, we know, did make it down to Maryland. It entertained a group of college girls somewhere in Jersey on the way. Yes. And I remember hearing about this because I think Cody had said, he goes, yeah, Derek was just cracking up laughing because there was this carload of college girls driving by, like laughing at us and pointing, and he knew it was back there and said nothing to Cody. It was great. But I don't know how it managed to get to India. I know that Cody was asked at some point to remove it. I don't know if it was by environmental officials, like at a boat launch or something. But he left it there as a badge of honor, which it was. It was a badge of honor.
Possibilities here. Let's logically think this.
Break
through.
It down.
It was removed, right?
It was.
Not saying we know Lockwood's not going to litter, but
nope.
If it fell off the trailer, got into the water supply, somehow migrated all the way up, across the Atlantic, it would have to go around Africa, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one well-traveled brick.
Yeah. It would have to get up into a river.
Yeah.
It would have to get up into a lot of things and then make its way to wherever the hell Howie is. I mean, that's one possibility. Another possibility is Stretching Lines finally started outsourcing some of their work to India, and that's the one particular mold they outsourced.
That's the one mold. They were like, no. When you were looking for the lunker, this is what you throw.
It's just, it was to cut down on the insane
Damien,
amount.
We never knew ye. Well, alrighty, guys, here we are. It's been a long winter. And these shows, when we're so close to being able to go out and get on open water, it's like the excitement level is unbelievable. It's just, it's a thing of magic. We got one of our jig heads here, Todd S., chimes in. We were talking during the break about swim bait rods. And he goes, I picked up that iRod designed by Caesar from Toxic Baits. So far, so good. That is a thing of beauty. And I asked him about taking it over to St. Clair. And he goes, I'm going to throw an A-rig with it, I think. I'm like, I would. That's great. I absolutely, especially if I'm not sure about Michigan, but if you could throw like a full-size A-rig, hell yeah. That's probably a nice setup. What's that rod rated for, Todd? If you know offhand, like what's it rated up to? But that was the conversation that we're sort of having with some of these rods and using them for different uses or, ways to be careful and all that kind of stuff. And we are just, 5 hooks in Michigan. Oh, the more I hear about Michigan, the more I fucking love it. In fact, we have a content creator and a guide out of Michigan that I am just like itching to get on the show so badly. His content is out of this world. So I dropped him an email to see about getting him on the show. Hopefully we can make that happen. But I am excited, man. April is coming up soon. I have an appointment to get my passport so that I can shave some time off of my.
About time.
I know.
It's about time.
I know, man. It's been a while. So yeah, we'll get that happening and make everything kind of work together. I'm excited. I think it's going to be really good. Anyway, spring is, on the calendar, it's very, very close to us. Like it's coming up. In reality, what was it? I think it was John Carter said still has 18 inches of ice out where he is. Yeah, that's the situation for a lot of stuff. And I was just talking with Binya right before we started recording the show, actually. And he told me, he's like, I am sick of ice fishing. And he's been having a great time doing it. But he's like, I'm just sick of it. And he goes, the problem is that he goes, I'm not an idiot. He goes, I know, like, when we start getting these really warm days and, it's not really great ice making weather, that it's like, it's getting less and less safe to be on that ice.
Sure.
And he's like, so I'm jonesing to get out on some open water. He also just recently bought a brand new Native Titan X. And so he's got that also, like, you know, just wanting to get out on the water with it and put some time in on it. So I can totally get that. But I am freaking pumped. I am stoked. I'm looking forward to an amazing 2025. I've got trips on the docket, and we have an amazing tournament season lined up for you. Whether you're doing multi-species stuff or you're going to join us in the bass slot limit tournaments, I mean, we got you covered every which way around. It's going to be freaking absolutely unbelievable. We're going to have ourselves a good one. I'm hoping to get out this weekend, go out to the Cape. And I was out, you know, at that comedy show with Paul, and when we were having dinner, I was talking with him, and I was like, we got to make this happen. Like, let's commit to the date. Let's go. We'll do it. We don't have to leave here at like 3 a.m. to get there for sunrise and be on the water, because this water is going to be so cold. Let's let it warm up. Let's let them, you know, let's let them get more active. So it'll pretty much work out perfectly, I think, for a nice little outing. John Higgins chimes in, says he's geeked. I already got some nice smallies on the board, and I'm anxious to get back out. I'm not jealous at all, John. I am not jealous at all. By the way, big shout out and thank you to John Higgins. He put together a video, posted it on TikTok, just like a walkthrough of how to register for the online tournaments, getting Fishing Chaos and how to navigate it and everything. I went ahead and reshared it on Instagram so people could see it. And actually, it's funny. Instagram's hilarious. You know, our Instagram following is up to like where it was probably a year ago. Like, we had dipped a little bit, and then things started to pick up. We are getting so many ridiculous follows all over the place, like off of the most random content from years ago. It's unfreaking believable. But I posted John's I posted John's video, and it actually gave me a pop-up dialogue box. They're like, reels over a minute 30 typically do worse than other, you know, I mean, this video took like, I think 3.5 minutes or something like that to put together. And I'm just like, no, this is shit that people need to pay attention to. And the ones that need the little kick in the ass to get registered, this video is going to help them. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to make sure to post that. What do we got? Todd Sefton says, I walked out on the reservoir today, at least 8 inches of ice. John Carter goes, last word from Plymouth is 8 to 10 inches. Really? Now, I've got actually photographs of a couple of spots out on the Cape that are wide open. So it is time. It is time to go and make it happen. We'll see what we can do. But you guys are absolutely awesome. We've had a bunch of people tagging us in their fish picks. I absolutely am here for that. Go ahead and keep that up, because it is fantastic. It allows us to kind of engage with you guys and show you a little love in return, because, you know, our listeners of the podcast, our subscribers on YouTube, our, you know, following on everything, the patrons, the jig heads, you guys are amazing, and we appreciate the shit out of you. So thank you so much for being amazing. We will see you guys in 7 days, and hopefully Bobby Roast Beef will have some fishy shit to actually talk about. And even if it's an epic fail, I'd rather bring you that than another, well, guys, we're almost ready to go, blah, 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 blah. We're just amping up and getting ready. Like, I'm like, get the show on the road. I need like 3 80-degree days back to back to back to just get rid of all the shit, and we'll make it happen. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much again. Be sure to check out any of these back episodes of Jigs and Bigs. I think I'm going to string together some Howie stuff as a little bit of a memorial here for Howie. And we're going to have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys in 7 days. And Joe, you got anything you want to wrap with before we call it?
That's it, man. I got nothing. Make sure you go check out our YouTubes, subscribe, our Instagrams, you know, Jigs and Bigs, American Vet Fishing, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, subscribe, YouTube, follow, all the stuff.
I am at I'm around 435 subs over there. And apparently I unlocked something at 500. I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping we can get there. And you guys could be amazing if you could go ahead and jump on over there. And remember, I am going to be launching a little bit of a series that's going to be going over at the YouTube channel as well. Am I a moron for doing it or not? We'll find out. That is to be discussed. Guys, have yourselves a good one. Remember, we'll be back in 7 days. More Jigs and Bigs goodness. You can give us a rating and review on your preferred podcast platform of choice, but the one where we would really, really like your support is over at Apple Podcast. Kind of makes all things happen. Have yourselves a good one, like we always say.
Sticks and ass, smoke some grass.